What it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. You feel me? I got live and mystical stories. Y'all see it. Y'all won't believe it. You feel me? It's a love story. You feel me? So we're gonna get straight into it. I'm gonna have to put her.
Shopify's point of sale system helps you set
her page in the description below. Make sure y'all get her. Run her numbers up. You feel me? Even though I ain't got no subscribers and that. I mean, you know, active viewers like that. But we're gonna get straight into it.
sell at every stage of your business. Need a fast and secure way to take
Voodoo, and David would come running back to Marsha like a lost puppy, and Marsha accepted David with open arms. They lived together, and it is as though David was obsessed with Marsha. It's just that though, David had like sudden.
Alright, we're finna start from the beginning because I was watching a little bit of it.
Alright, so I wasn't going to make a story time today, but you guys have been so loving and supportive on YouTube that I'm just like, it inspired me to get on here and tell you guys this story. This person submitted their stories, and if you haven't submitted your stories yet, make sure you submit yours at submitalienstories@gmail.com. This person would like to remain anonymous, and it's a love spell story. And if you guys haven't learned, stop doing love spells on people.
This is the woman who controlled her husband. So this woman, we'll call her Marsha, and we'll call her husband David. So Marsha was now getting into voodoo, okay? She was now getting into this whole thing, getting into this whole realm and learning about different spells and different potions and different things. This was already in Marsha's family, so this was right up her alley to actually get into her roots to practice voodoo. I said that to say that Marsha was no stranger to this. If anything, she was actually pretty along in her journey. David, however, he would dabble, but he wasn't as consistent as Marsha. However, whenever he needed help from spirits, like he would go to a voodoo priest, so he would dabble here. While Marsha and David were together. But the tea is, Marsha met David at a party, and Marsha took David home, and they did the bada boom bada bang, and Marsha winded up pregnant from the one night stand. And Marsha, when she finds out that she's pregnant, is utterly embarrassed that, well, she knew who the father was, but it's just like she doesn't know where the father was, because at that point it had been like maybe 2 months since that one night stand, and they didn't really stay in contact. And Marsha also didn't know what to tell her family because, well, she didn't want to be called a harlot. So from
A harlot? That's what they call them? A harlot? We call them hoes over here, but they call them a harlot. That shit crazy. That wild as fuck.
the time that Marsha found out that she was with child, she went around the entire neighborhood asking anybody that she knew, even back to the party, traced it back to the party, to find out where this man could possibly be and actually who this man was. So through that, she actually finds David. And child, Marsha's mentality was, I'll let you get away once and I ain't letting you get away again. She found out where David lives. Not only did she find out where David lived, but she also found out that David had a whole other family. So there's an obstacle to Marsha's plans. Marsha winded up going to David's house, found David, and spoke to him. And she told him that she's pregnant. And David, being utterly like, this can't be mine. Like, my consequences cannot be catching up to me. So no, I think you're barking at the wrong tree. Marsha, being offended, said, all right. Marsha manages to get to his wife and told her that he got her pregnant, and if she doesn't leave that man, his wife, mind you, she's telling his wife, if you don't leave your husband for me, you won't like what's coming next. And his wife stayed in the picture, and there began a series of just mishaps in David's wife's life. Car accidents, random health problems, suddenly seeing things, hearing things. After all of those things happened, David's wife had no choice but to remember that she was threatened before by David's mistress that is pregnant. So David's wife decided to bow out of the picture. She took her children and she bounced while David was sleeping. Now David goes to Marsha. David confronts Marsha about ruining his life. After he confronted Marsha, they got into a scuffle. But you know what? Marsha was still determined for David's love. She went ahead, she did what she did. I don't know what the fuck Marsha did, but she put a love spell on David. Now, she had David's child, so this was probably really easy for her to do. And like I said, she also practiced voodoo. And David would come running back to Marsha like a lost puppy, and Marsha accepted David with open arms. They lived together, and it is as though David was obsessed with Marsha. It's just that though, David had like sudden outbursts every once in a while. Like outbursts that were just out of the ordinary. Now keep in mind, Marsha didn't really know David like that before.
See, what is given is, I forgot what that one movie is called, where that black dude is dating this white girl and they take him to her town and they somebody else is controlling his body, you feel me? And he just deep down inside, you feel me? It's giving that, you feel me?
She got pregnant. She just kind of decided that she didn't want to be embarrassed and that she needed to have a man be in her life in order to have this baby. So she was willing to take the steps to do it, but she forgot one thing. She didn't know who the fuck this man was. She plucked him out of obscurity, and he was obscure. These outbursts.
Working hard, but something's holding you back?
It's
you holding me back.
Every single time he would come straight at Marsha. All of his anger was directed toward Marsha. And Marsha didn't understand what she was doing wrong because he was under a love spell. You're in love with me, so how can you treat me like this? So Marsha decided, I did a love spell, so he loves me. So now all I have to do is do a spell to keep his anger at bay. And Marsha did. Marsha did a spell that would then keep David's anger at bay. So Marsha went on to have a docile man that does not put his hands on her and that loves her, actually is obsessed with Marsha. So when this person submitted this story, they actually ended the story with, they're at the point now where it's been a long time. So that person is actually Marsha. Marsha wants to leave David because she has had it with him. He is just not the same man, even when he was angry. Now David is just sad, obsessed, and he has lost track of like his actual life. He's a father and he's not providing. So 2 years after the baby, Marsha now wants to leave David. But Marsha knows that that is a very complicated mission because this man is now under two spells, a love spell and something to keep his anger at bay. And she's been the one to keep it going. And she's worried that if she leaves him, he will realize what she did to him and he will come after her. And just a little plot twist, I wanted to wait till the end because y'all be thinking that only Haitian women be doing this. Marsha is Jamaican. I should have called her Sherry Ann. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Thank you, Marsha. You know who you are for submitting this story. It was actually very entertaining for me to go free and to tell. You shouldn't do a love, like I can't help it. Sometimes y'all submit these stories to me thinking I know what to say. I don't know what to say. I just tell stories online, guys. But I don't know, Marsha, if it isn't the consequences to your own actions. Like, I don't know. If you guys have any comments or advice for Marsha, you guys can put it down in the comments below. I'm sure she'll see this video. I want another love spell story because I'm on a roll today. Somebody just submitted this one to me and this one is good. I can't believe you guys are this unhinged. Let's get into the story time. This one is T.
I can't believe it, you feel me? You feel me? Like, I don't know. Like, I can't picture myself doing that. Or I'm gonna stay protected at all times. All times. I don't care what you believe in. And that's facts, for real, I don't care what you believe in. I'm gonna stay protected at all times.
We're gonna call this guy Andre. Andre was the one who submitted the story to me, and Andre's Jamaican. So Andre was in a relationship with this girl, and they had a very tumultuous relationship. That means, for whatever reason, the relationship was always toxic. It seemed like they were always getting together and breaking up, getting together and breaking up. Until one day, Andre was like, I really cannot take this no more. I really want out of this relationship. I want nothing to do with this. He said that a couple months went by, and one day he just felt the urge to just get back together with the girl. So he did. He said that he would later find out that this girl was into some dark shit. Unbeknownst to him, this girl had other plans. She was tired of the back and forth. So after they got back together, Andre said that they always had like a super close best friend relationship where they could tell each other anything.
So one day, as a joke, she winds up saying something along the lines of, you know, for a second there, I was scared. I didn't think my stuff was working. I didn't think it worked. I didn't think I was gonna get you back. So then Andre asked her, like, what do you mean by that? And she said, as a joke, what if I did Obia on you and that's why you're here? As a joke, though. They both laughed about it and moved on. He also mentioned that upon them getting back together, she was really, really pushy in terms of sex. He said that he was never the type of dude to run a red light, okay? But one day, during that time of the month for his girl, she really wanted to do it. And she convinced him, and they did it. Keep in mind that this girl had already met Andre's parents, and Andre mentioned that his mother never liked his girlfriend. But you know, Jamaican parents are hard to please. One day, the mom came up to him and said, son, I had a dream. Like, I really don't like that girl enough. I had a dream that your grandmother came to me and told me that she was working Obia on you. Do what you want with that information, but I don't think you should stay with her. Andre is a spiritual dude. Andre's a spiritual dude, but he's like, Obia? I don't know. So he decides to go home and he sat his girlfriend down and started by saying, I know what you've been doing to me, just to see if she would say anything. He said that my mother came up to me and said that she had a dream and went on to tell her what the mother's dream was. And he said, well, does that sound familiar? And homegirl would say, okay, so now here's the tea. She said during one of their back and forth, she said that, well, she read somewhere that blood is a very powerful ingredient to binding. And mirrors are also very powerful magic tools. So she thought,
it just give chills, you feel me? Like, hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. Let me, oh, you feel me? Like, it just give chills, you feel me?
binding. And mirrors are also very powerful magic tools. So she thought, why don't I just combine both? She said that one day she missed him so much that she wrote his name in blood in the mirror, and she stood in front of it and summoned him. She was also saying affirmation like, you're obsessed with me, you want me, you love me, you can't leave me alone. She said she didn't think it would work because she had only did it once and it took him a while to get to her, to get back together with her. And she also brought up that time that they did it while she was on her. He said he was utterly disgusted that she would even do something like that. He said he left. He said he did a cleanse on one of the beaches. He wore all white and then walked into the water, dunked his head to try to cleanse himself and get rid of her energy or her spirit around. Well, he successfully stayed away from her. But she, on the other hand, cannot leave that man alone. He says that this girl is literally obsessed with him, like showing up to his house, obsessed with him, get cussed out by his family and still comes back because she wants the man that bad. She told him that if he doesn't get back together with her, that she will unalive herself. And she attempted. Her family found her, took her to the hospital. And when she came back home from the hospital, guess who was the first person she went to go see? Andre. And Andre says that it's gotten to the point where she done fought his mama. It's gotten to the point where she done fought his mama, his sister, his cousin. She done got jumped. And that girl don't care. She want that man. He says that she doesn't present as a physical threat to him, but he's definitely afraid for the ladies around him because she has also showed up to his dates, sat on top of his car, and refused to get off the car because he was with another woman. And now he's thinking about moving because he cannot get rid of her. And the craziest thing is he didn't do nothing. She was trying to get him to be obsessed with her, but some way, somehow, I never heard this before, but a Uno reverse happened and she winded up being the obsessed one. Golly, that was a good one. Thank you, Andre. I really do wish you the best. If you guys wish to submit your stories, be sure to submit them at submitalienstories@gmail.com. And if they're really interesting, then I'll tell them. I have so many more story times available on my YouTube channel, so make sure you guys go on over and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're thinking about doing a love spell on that man, maybe you should listen to this story time first. Relax. So I have another love spell story, and this one is about Natasha and Jacob. So you really have to be careful with your in-laws because you never know who has your best intentions at heart. So Natasha and Jacob were a pretty normal and regular couple. So one day Jacob came up with the idea that they have been pretty far along in their relationship and that it is time to take their relationship to the next level. It was time that Natasha met Jacob's parents. So Jacob made the plans, Natasha agreed, and they would go on, and Natasha would meet Jacob's parents. Now Natasha, upon meeting the parents, had a really, really hard time, especially the mom, grappling with how they felt about her. Like, she really couldn't tell if they liked her or not, or if they had her best interest at heart, or even if they wanted her with their son, point blank period in general. They would ask her a lot of like deep, intimate questions, and Natasha not really thinking anything of it because this is her beloved's parents, and her trying to impress them would answer each and every single last one of them. So after that, the couple went back home and they continued to live their lives like normal. Now, Natasha can't really account when, but she accounts that one day she just woke up and she was madly in love with Jacob. Natasha says she doesn't know what it was, but she just looked at Jacob one day and she said she knew that she was willing to risk her life for Jacob. She knew that she was willing to take a bullet for Jacob. She knew that there wasn't anything in this world that she wasn't willing to do for Jacob. So Natasha's love for Jacob just continued to grow and grow and grow. Natasha described it like, it's like each and every single day she just fell deeper and deeper and deeper in love with Jacob. And it wasn't anything that Jacob specifically was doing. Natasha was just falling for this man. And it was all great until it wasn't. Because Natasha would start tripping over crazy things. This email was submitted to me by Natasha. Now, Natasha described herself never being a jealous or possessive person, but once in a while, she would see girls or her man interacting with girls, and she just would not like it. And those things would just kind of build up each and every single time until one day, she was at a supermarket, and somebody came up to Jacob, a girl, and they had a conversation, and for whatever reason, it really triggered Natasha. And Natasha blew up and caused an angry scene at the supermarket where it just basically embarrassed everybody that was involved. So Jacob being like, yo, what are you tripping on me about? This is one of my childhood friends. As a matter of fact, you guys met once. So what are you yelling at me about? What are you screaming? What are you angry about? Natasha herself was extremely confused, and even though Natasha said that she knew and she felt that she was being unreasonable, something within her could not stop but to just continue the fight. Random little events would happen and Natasha would just continue to blow up. Until one day Natasha had a dream. And obviously, I cannot tell you guys the full story because I already told it on my YouTube page. So if you guys want the full story to what happened between Jacob and Natasha, you guys need to head over to my YouTube channel right now. Okay? I have 2 story times back to back in the same video, so you guys are able to see.
Looking for a broker that can match your drive and ambition? Don't settle for second best.
The end of the previous story time and also the entire story to this on my YouTube page. So if you go to the top of my page where it actually says Instagram, you click that, both my Instagram and my YouTube link will pop up. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch my videos so you can get my watch hours up. And after you do that, go to my Instagram where you can keep up with me and what I do in my personal time. And subscribe and follow me on Instagram too. I mean, just so that I know it's real, duh. Anyway, I do love you abducted aliens. And if you come in here complaining, talking about some, you're not dropping full story times on your page anymore, like, shut the still am gonna drop full story times on my page, but there are still certain stories that are so long that I have no choice but to drop them on YouTube. Thank you guys for understanding. I love you abducted aliens. Bye until next. I'm exhausted, but I'm dedicated, so let's do it. My grandmother told me never be desperate enough for love that you do a love spell on somebody, and this is why. We're gonna call this woman Yoli, and we're gonna call her boyfriend Mark. So Yoli was in love with Mark, okay? There's nothing that Yoli was not willing to do for this man. That was her man, that was her person. Like, she would go to bat for Mark. Like, she would take a bullet for Mark. However, it just wasn't reciprocated. Now, keep in mind, this story took place in Haiti. And if you know anything about Haitian men, like, I'm not gonna say too much, but like, they be having like 10 different families. So needless to say, that Mark had these little things on the side, and Mark was definitely dragging Yoli through the mud. And if you know anything else about Haitian women, we love a good gossip. So all the other women from the neighborhood would just watch how Yoli and Mark move about and just go gossip about her behind her back. And Yoli, being aware of this fact, was just honestly dying from embarrassment. Not only is it embarrassing that everybody else has this image of her, But it's also embarrassing that she knows that she loves this man, and there's not a thing that she's not willing to do for him. So why isn't it reciprocated? It's a weird juxtaposition of siding with everybody else, but wanting to stay with that person. One day Mark comes home and Mark tells Yoli that, yo, basically, like, I'm not gonna lie, you're great, but like, we're gonna have to part our ways. Needless to say, Yoli didn't take it very well because they were still living together, right? Until Yoli got the brilliant idea. So Yoli decides, I shot this part so many times and my TikTok just keeps fucking up. So she decides, she goes to the priest and she tells him that she wants a love spell done on Mark. And the voodoo priest is like, okay, but just so you know, this is what it would entail. This potion that he was about to give her, which included her blood, by the way, which was what did the binding, right? Keep that in mind. So this potion, once you feed it to Mark, would last for the next 6 months. After those 6 months, you don't even want to wait for those 6 months to be up because you need to come back before those 6 months are up. Get you another potion and feed it to Mark because you do not want to reap the consequences of your own actions of putting a love spell on somebody. Mark became a new man, so much so that the entire neighborhood even starts to notice, and they even start to talk about it. Like, what is going on? Didn't Mark really not care for Yoli like that? Like, why are they all buddy-buddy now? Okay, we here for it though. For the first 6 months, it is as though Mark made a complete 180. Like, he was a completely new man. He was a family-oriented man. He even got Yoli pregnant and proposed to her in that time. Yoli, being a fan of this potion, said, well, I'm not waiting for my 6 months to come up. I'm going back now and I'm getting some more. So she went back and she got another potion before the 6 months was up and fed it again to Mark to, you know, ensure longevity in this princess treatment that she was getting. So Mark has no idea that he's under a spell, that anything is being done to him. Like, he is living his life regularly. Keep in mind, when you go to a voodoo priest and they do these services for you guys, this is not cheap, okay? So you actually have to come out of pocket and pay a ton of money to cover your life like this. Yoli had an amazing year, okay? She had an amazing year with Mark. She was now pregnant. She was ready to start her life with her man until finances hit. Meaning that Yoli can't afford to go to the voodoo priest again to get a new potion. So her thinking, this is probably just a marketing scheme anyway that the voodoo priest told her so she can keep coming back and keep spending her money because it's been a whole year and her man was sweet. So she said, I ain't going back. I'm not spending my money again. So the year went on, the potion wore off, and child, Mark was back. When the spell wore off of Mark, now trigger warning, DV. When that spell wore off, it is as though all of the love and all of the adoration that Mark had for Yoli over that year, all of it turned into hate but tenfold. One day, Mark woke up and he hated Yoli. So it started off pretty slow. So, you know, domestic violence. So now Mark is an extremely violent man. So Mark is whooping Yoli's every chance he gets. So now Yoli has found herself in an extremely abusive relationship that she wasn't even in before. And keep in mind, she's with child. Verbal abuse, physical abuse, she was dealing with all of it. Mark also became just an angry individual just in his regular life. He was very short-fused and very short-tempered with people in general. He seemed to have no sympathy for even the baby that Yoli seemed to be carrying for him. So Yoli decides to go back to the priest and get yet another dose and goes back home and feeds it to Mark. Except this time she didn't get the princess treatment that she got the first time. She got Mark being extremely in love with her, but the abuse was still there. If not, it was worse. Yoli could not get away from this man. And it's damned if you do and damned if you don't, because in 6 months, when this new potion wears off, what will become of Mark? And if she doesn't do it, what will become of her? So it's kind of like, does she get another potion just to keep him sweet so she can stay alive? Or does she just lean him off? Like, what to do? Yoli goes to her family about it, and her family decides, we're going to help you get away, Yoli, because you need to get out of there now, because he will unalive you at some point. So the family drives over and gets Yoli. So it's like a secret rescue mission while he's not home. Well, the family gets her and they escape. Listen, I'm tired. If you guys want to hear the aftermath of everything, if you guys want to hear how this story ends and what will happen with Yoli and Mark and how they separated or how, you know, the story ended, you're going to have to follow me, leave a like, and leave a comment. But most importantly, go ahead and head over to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Did you know you can create a love spell using certain herbs from your kitchen? I have a story submission from a kitchen witch, and she is from Trinidad. Basically, Kitchen Witch and this guy have been together for a while. But she tells me, she says she grew up in a spiritual Baptist home, so things like that she's never been a stranger to. She mentions that in previous relationships, she's always been through the most terrible heartbreaks. And she says that she highly doubts she can actually survive another heartbreak. So the decision that she made to trap this man was based off of her feelings and what she can and cannot take. Not because she was direly in love with him, but because she was comfortable in this situation and she just cannot start over with someone new. Now, she says she started seeing little signs throughout that relationship that would tell her that maybe he's gonna leave her. Little signs like him coming home later, him being distracted on his phone a little bit more, her feeling like he's barely paying attention to her. So she decided that, you know what? No, I'm gonna cut my losses. She decided that she was gonna do a binding spell. So while she was cooking his food in the kitchen, she says she knows exactly what herbs to use and what purpose they serve. She whipped him something real special. He ate his dinner, and she was right. The man was tied to her hip. He knew where home was. And he was even sure to tell everybody that he was in a relationship. He said after a year of this binding spell working, she becomes a little bit more secure in her relationship. So her head is not as much on a swivel, and she can relax now because she knows like her man, this man is not gonna leave her. And just when Kitchen Witch lets her guard down, this man comes up with a brilliant idea one day. This man said, maybe we should invite other people into our relationship if you picking up what I'm putting down. We should have threesomes and orgies. And Kitchen Witch, she's not with it. Absolutely not. She said, first of all, she's straight. And second of all, she's monogamous. So no. But where is this coming from? That triggered Kitchen Witch to go do some research. You would find out, even though the man never left her, the man was still doing him on the side. That cheating did not stop. If anything, it seemed like it got even worse. She says she's going through his phone, and it's a zoo of bitches. And he's had with all of them.
The average person sees hundreds of online ads daily. Here's how a man's life would change if he used.
So Kitchen Witch decides to go back to the drawing board. She decides that she's gonna put a love spell on him. Because maybe if the love grows within him, then he won't have time to actually cheat. He'll know where home is and the love will be there. And she says she knows all the right herbs to put in somebody's food with the right intentions, cook it at the right temperature to get that man on a platter. And that she did. She added some oregano. She added some rosemary. I'm not gonna tell y'all the full recipe because y'all unhinged.
Don't tell them.
And fed her man a beautiful, loving dinner. He eats it, and of course, he's enthralled. In love, if you will. They wind up having a child together, and they even upgraded to a bigger home. And with her being pregnant with the baby and giving birth, she said that she didn't really have much time to make him another special dinner in like over a year. At this point, after the baby, she completely forgot. And like I said in the first place, it's not like she was ever really in love with the man. She just didn't want him to leave because she was comfortable. This is the life that she chose for herself. So after she gave birth, she said that she was left alone a lot. So at this point, dude starts to leave her in the house a lot with the baby. But at this point, she's like, you know what? She's a mother. So let she be a mother. So she would go on to take care of this kid, whether he was there or not. But then again, remember, he would always come back home. So she says, you know what? Do you? Well, come to find out, he was still fucking around. So much so that he got somebody else in the neighborhood pregnant. So around the time that his girlfriend gave birth, he was leaving her alone to go spend time with his now other pregnant side piece. So one day, Kitchen Witch and her man is sleeping together in the bed when suddenly she feels like she can't breathe. So she wakes up to notice that her man is on top of her, strangling her. That he never really displayed much signs of violence towards her before. He literally just woke up and decided to do this. So he's attacking her and she's fighting for her life. She said the only thing that saved her was that lamp on the side of her bed. She was able to tap around for it, reach it, and hit that man.
And she got up, grabbed her daughter, and ran out the house. She said because she was scared to come back into the house, she decided to go spend some time with some other family across town. And while she's there, she gets a phone call from a female. When she answers the phone, the first thing the person says is, "So you're all right, you're good." And she's like, "Who is this?" This woman tells her that you need to stay away from my man. And whatever you're doing to him to keep him to you, undo it. Undo it. Now she says she knows why the binding spell is still working. That is because she used a very powerful ingredient to bind them to each other. Blood. It's really difficult to undo
Blood.
work. The love spell though wore off. So she doesn't know what else to do. So now the side chick is working witchcraft on her. The side chick threatened to take her and her daughter out of the equation for the man. That she is working night and day to ensure that. And this woman emailed me, submitted this to me, asking me what to do. I do not know. She said just last week she got into a random car accident. She was driving pretty fast when her car just suddenly stopped. No car issues, no nothing. She says, yeah, she's trying to take me out. I don't know. What do you guys think? For me, this is just too messy. This is too much. For a man? For some Pinot? Nah, I'm good. Let me know what you guys think about this. And if you guys would ever do a love.
I could tell you how to, stop the shit. You know how to defuse it. But, y'all be getting yourself into some deep water type shit. You feel me? Like what the fuck wrong with y'all? The fuck? I don't have no lover, you feel me? But, I want love, but it's like, at the same time, I don't really care for it, you feel me? Because I know how people is. Especially in the United States, bro, like, real talk. I can't really, get down with y'all. You feel me? But whatever comes my way, you feel me? I'ma love my little baby and see, today she done. But y'all some weird ass motherfuckers, you heard me?
Love spell. Imagine doing a love